As we transition away from our time to remember those who we've lost, right? The opportunity to grieve for Memorial Day and transition back into the discussion of how we do crucial conversations well. I want to take this time to kind of capitalize on some of the lessons that Memorial Day brings for us, primarily that of humility. When we look at those who have paid the ultimate price for us to be able to have conversations like this, it is one of the ultimate signs of our need for humility. Jesus coming and dying for us being helpless to our sin. It's our humility, it's our recognition that we can't do this on our own that brings us to a need for God. Well, very similarly, our need to know that we need to be better at conversation is exactly the place we need to start. See, if we're lost in the woods, but refuse to acknowledge it, it's only going to make the problem worse and worse and worse. If we are so sure we know where we're going, but we are incorrect in the most minor of ways, we will only become worse and worse off. Well, practicing humility before we even engage in the tools that all of Jeff has been giving us, this is the perfect reminder coupled with Memorial Day to say, I need to remember that if I'm lost, I need help. And that's exactly what these tools are designed to be able to give us the opportunity to learn if we are indeed lost. Through embracing humility, we can put ourselves out there to ensure that, hey, I might not be telling myself a story that is actually reality. My perception of things might be wrong. And so I want to make sure that if it is, I can have somebody come and tell me where I am. They can tell me I'm lost and can get the help I need to be found, to find my way. Right? So before we do any of the sharing our facts, telling your story, asking for help, talking tentatively, encouraging testing, any of that, we want to practice humility, coming into the conversation knowing that, hey, the story I'm saying may not be what is real. And so before we share our facts, right, S of state, let's embrace humility and say, I may not know everything that's going on. Which brings us exactly to the point where it's like, okay, let's actually look at the facts so that we have a common place to start. That's why sharing the facts is so important. Let's sit there. Let's see, okay, what do I absolutely know is true? In the analogy of being lost in the woods, what landmarks do I see that I can, without a shadow of a doubt, know that is part of where I'm at? Those are the facts. Those are the things that we need to help bring forth in the conversation. And then as we transition from sharing our facts to telling your story, that is where we can allow humility to come in and say, as I share this story, I may not be exactly where I thought I was. I may not be where I think I am right now. But let me share it with you to see if we can come to an understanding. If we approach the conversation from this mindset, if we approach the conversation with the humility that we may be wrong, it will only help us in the case that we are wrong. The trick is that we are our best advocate. We are the ones that argue for ourselves better than anybody else. In fact, humanity in general is very good at rationalizing what they're doing and how they're doing it. If you give anybody enough time, they can find an argument for why what they're doing is the right thing. But we don't want to live that way because it's the path to isolation. The man who is always right is the man who is completely alone. And there's no place in our lives where we cannot be in conversation and not have conflict. Eventually it will come. So let's embrace the reality of conflict in our life and encourage ourselves to get better and better at it so that we can love people well, which is a continuation of our Bible verse in John. John 15:12-13 says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." Jesus is speaking to us. No, I want you to love one another. I want you to go out of your way to have conversations well with one another, because I first did that for you. I loved you. I gave you my word that you might hear me and love well. And greater love has no one than this, than that someone may lay down their life for their friends. The people that we have in our life that we love, if we can embrace the fact that I may have to lay down my life, and in doing so, I very well may find myself the directions I need to get back on the track to reality, the better I'll be at embracing the need to have conversations well, at sharing my facts, because those are what everybody knows is safe. I can find my landmarks and use them to track where I'm going. And then I can tell my story. Hey, based off of what I'm seeing, this is what I'm perceiving. That's the first steps to being able to then receive back communication on where you are and whether or not you are indeed right, that you are perceiving things as you should, or the opportunity to learn this is not where I wanted to be, and thank you for telling me so that I might get back on the path.